Hello, thank you so much for watching. My name is Hannah Fernandez and you're watching SCORE TV. With me today is my fellow SCORE mentor, Othello Van Calvert, and we're going to talk about all the different services that SCORE provides. So SCORE is a nonprofit association dedicated to helping small businesses across the United States get off the ground, grow, and achieve their goals through education and mentorship. And this is for the life of your business. So whether you are a new entrepreneur or you've been in business for a long time, our SCORE mentors could offer you free business advice, mentoring, and other resources for the life of your business. And our mission is to help develop healthy and vibrant, sustainable small business community. So SCORE grows successful small businesses across America, one business at a time. To connect with us, please check out our website at chicago.score.org. You can also email us at info@scorechicago.org or call us at 312-353-7724. So Othello,
yes,
so great to have you again here.
yes, thank you, Hannah, for having me. I'm pleased to be here.
Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and talk, with the viewers and between ourselves about our journey as mentors and also as entrepreneurs and, being with SCORE and just starting our own businesses.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, my journey was starting off first, you lady first, but
Sure.
but my journey is it started off with SCORE. I worked, as an engineer in the data world, and simply got downsized from my company and was looking to either go back into the industry or to play the resume game or do something. And that,
Right.
And because I've had the background from my business owner, from my father running his business, I can tell you we used to do from age 13, whether it was handling the employees at early age, 15, 16, handling employees,
Sure.
to inventory, understanding what inventory was, and those were some of the things I did with the accounting. And going to pick up supplies and going to meetings at the age of 15.
Wow.
And dealing with numbers, and I was the only young kid there. And
That's awesome.
exciting about being the only one. But numbers is always. My mom also was into numbers. She was also an engineer. She went to DeVry and she went work for digital. So I came up in that industry of numbers. And one of the things I've loved is the puzzles. She always had us doing the 10 puzzles. Then we went from 100 into thousands. So putting things together was one of the key things in finding trends. So when I ran into SCORE, I went to work part of the Chambers of Commerce, not just Chamber.
Sure.
Been there for 3 years, and 4 years, and then I met Keith through another friend, and we just hit it off. He was hard to get in contact with, but once
Right.
we sat down, we hit it off right on the numbers and on track. And then he said, "Hey, listen, some of the things you might want to remember and to keep is to remember to follow your passion. If you get involved with certain things, make sure you don't waver and just stick to who you are." And what's one of the keys that I just take with me forever, because it's one of the turning points in starting my business with SCORE. And so I became part of SCORE
Right.
as a mentor with all the information I have. So I'm still on a journey.
Sure.
I'm still on a journey, starting a journey.
We all are.
We all are, and I'm excited with all the information. It's incorporating it now to make sure it's delivered to the people the right way. So that's my educational part. But definitely, I'd love to hear more about how you got started into SCORE and your journey.
Definitely. So the way I started with SCORE is I actually started from corporate America first before becoming my own boss. So I was working for Pfizer for 7.5 years. And then so after that, I wanted to start my own business. And then so the current partners and I started a wall art company where we actually took some images and created some wall art out of these images. So they could be images from your cell phone or from your camera, any image at all we could turn into a wall art. And so after having success in that, we got involved in a lot of different organizations, like one of my business partners, Jasmine Fernandez, who's also my sister. We got invited to become part of the board of directors of Mega Partnering. And so because we met a lot of small business owners being in that position and also investors who had the money to invest, it was an easy opportunity for me to go ahead and start my current business right now. I've been in the industry for 7 years, but as far as for having my own business in the finance industry, it's going on to almost 3 years now. So time flies.
Yes, it does.
Yes, and so what we do is the company's ROI Business Funding, and what we do is we help small business owners get the funding that they need, especially after they get turned down by big banks.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, I know you mentioned about the walling. What is that? What does the walling involve? You said the walling.
You're talking about the wall art from my
wall
other
art?
company?
Okay, the wall art is like art on the wall.
Yeah, so art on the wall.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah, so basically what it is that one of my business partners, he started off working for NASA as a rocket engineer or scientist, and then so what he did was he went ahead and called me and he said, "Hey, I'm a scientist, but I don't know how to sell. Do you think this idea is feasible?" And on and on and on. And I'm sitting here like, that's what I do for a living, sales.
Yeah.
So then, I brought, my sister into the team and also my business partner from Pfizer at the time. So we ended up, helping Christopher Moffat with his idea, and we built a business out of it. And so, going back to helping him, because he said, "Look, I don't know how to sell. I love numbers, and I could create any software you want me to." So the good thing about that whole endeavor is we were able to build a good team where we took somebody who had a great background on software, also in sales, building accounts, and we put it together to create our strong team.
Wow. So from there, you went on to doing a different. Now that was successful, you started doing other business. That's interesting.
Right.
That's interesting.
And one of the things that I, jumped into my new business with ROI Business Funding is that there's still a pressing issue when it comes to access to capital in the small business world. So a lot of people are getting turned down by the big banks, especially after 2008. A lot of the banks are becoming more risk averse because at the end of the day, you got to look at them too as a business. Because if you look at, small businesses, most of them are riskier than the ones that are making, multi-million-dollar revenues.
Yeah.
And also, if you look at it from a business standpoint, if it's going to cost the same to underwrite a loan that's only, let's say, $100,000 versus a loan that's, $10 million, that's where, it's more profitable.
Right. Well, that's interesting. Because I'm actually working on a project that revolves around the net value, the present net value, and it talks about a little bit about that. Whether you did making a decision on buying a product, which machines you want to buy, which computers you want to buy, which mainframe you want to buy. You got A, B, or C, and one might be lifetime. In 5 years, one might last for 10 years, and then there's a discount rate on there, and then compare it with the interest rate on there. And so the project is to determine, my job is to determine how, what's the distance, in lifetime compared if I'm getting one for 5 years, if I get, say, a loan, because I definitely would need that to invest in the product. I can even say, well, I can get this product and it costs me, a certain X amount of interest on this for this amount of years, and at the end of these years, I can see where my, how much it's going to be compared to if I get a loan somewhere else, which would be low. And it might look like you're spending more money, but you're actually getting a greater rate, long term. Compared to if you say, well, I want to save money by buying it now and let it last for 4 or 5 years, or say 6, or say half of 10, 5 years, you end up spending more because, it can die out, lifetime can die out, and you might end up spending more later down the road. So these are some of the things to bring up to a business owners. You mentioned I was working on that project in Excel.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's one of these things where you have to know your numbers. You got to go ahead and sit down and figure out, does this make sense? Do I have enough profit margin to go ahead and take this on?
Right.
Or even if you go ahead and launch a marketing campaign, you got to set those metrics up to figure out, okay, if I go ahead and spend, let's say, $2,000 this month in a Google pay-per-click campaign, is this how much ROI is this going to bring my company? And is this working? If this initiative is working, of course, continue in, even double up on your budget. But if it's not, you got to kill it right away. You know, whatever's not working, you got to stop.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You gotta stop the bleeding.
Exactly,
Stop the bleeding, or
exactly.
you go out of business. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, well, some of the information I've gotten, you know, like I mentioned before, down the line is I went to some of the Scores workshop they had.
Yes.
One was Microsoft, you know,
Mhm.
and I met a few the mentors there. But that information was also dynamic. You know, like us, we know we're talking the business, and to sit there around other business owners and hear their stories as well, was able to bring, you know, some people in. I have one friend that his name, is Mamadou, and you met him
Yes.
before, and brought him in as well. And he's excited too to go to the workshops. He's still getting started, but yeah, going back to Microsoft and is in Microsoft building, you know, and SCORE is running those. You know, it's good to be around business owners that's learning the same thing, and you can hear their stories and guide them in the right direction. And I met one gentleman through SCORE who made $1.3 million.
Yes.
And he wanted to, you know, my first entry into mentoring him, and of course I brought Keith in on it, and he mentioned that he made that type of money, but he wanted to sort of, you know, change hats because he had done it so long.
Sure.
So he wanted to bring in new people to take over his to kind of help run his business. And so, and how many businesses out there that's like that with not a exit plan? So we sat down with him, and I said, well, where's the business plan? And there was no business plan. I'm thinking 1.3 million. So how many businesses out there
Right.
need that business plan for the exit? And it's true, you know, they need the business plan, and that's where I find, highlight SCORE, because you know, I've heard about SCORE so many years before I even got started, and
Right.
never knew the information that it provided until I started taking the training. The training was like, oh my God. Oh my God, this training, I couldn't turn away from the training that SCORE provides for you. And
We want to make sure we are the best of the best, and we take those kind of ethics very, very seriously.
I enjoy it. I tell you, it's, you know, you have to be in it and go through the training, and I incorporate it into my business.
Yes.
Because it's good. It's just good ethic into it
Absolutely.
to provide to your business. And what reason why I'm here, and the reason why I'm stepping out of my comfort zone is just adding that extra, caviar, you would say, from the training. So definitely, SCORE has. So how has SCORE kind of altered your journey?
So my journey, so as soon as I transitioned over from corporate America, what I did was actually seek out a SCORE mentor.
Okay.
And this is where, I sat down and pretty much, asked about how to go ahead and do something as simple as, how to incorporate. And then as my needs started to change, then I actually went ahead and got a mentor for marketing or sales. Because that's one of the things about SCORE is that as your business continues to grow, your needs are going to change. But the good thing about SCORE is that we're going to go ahead and match you with the mentors that actually meets your needs at this present moment. So I was able to do that, and so because of all the values I received personally and in business from SCORE, this is one of the reasons why I'm becoming, a SCORE mentor. I am one now because I want to go ahead and give back to other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Because again, I've been in that path, so I completely get it, just like a lot of the SCORE mentors do.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we have so far. I've met, and within SCORE, some of the great people who wants to look for a diverse group coming aboard, and
Exactly.
and I like that because it's not stagnated to just one, developing culture, and today's technology is changing the way people make decisions, and so the data. I remember back in 1999 when the great rush to change your data information over. Everybody was going to, now you remember the two that was at what's this called, the K2. I think they called it the K2 back then. And everybody was rushing to get their data changed over. It's pretty much where we at now, where we upgrading SCORE to a new model, a new look.
Absolutely.
And data is helping that to change that. So I'm excited to be a part of that. Why we are in the mix of changing it, the mix of change. It's history.
It is
To me,
definitely,
so.
it's definitely the grassroots right now because one of the things that we're doing at SCORE Chicago and also across the country is that we're actually recruiting a lot more and more diverse mentors to meet the growing needs and the changing faces of small businesses across the country and especially in a big city like Chicago.
Yeah.
And so I'm very happy to see, different mentors from different backgrounds and, different nationalities.
And millennials.
Millennials,
And then younger too.
women, I mean, you name it, and I'm so happy to see that because to me that's progress.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. To accounting, some of my friends are in accounting for 10 years, been knowing them over 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Top in their business, top in their expertise, in far as accountants, attorneys, that we bring on board that are really passionate about what they do. To IT
Right.
individuals that's running their own business. They're out there, and this part of my A team. I'm thinking
Right.
of them. So definitely the go-to people. You bring them along, and you definitely want when we had one business that was a salon.
Okay,
And I can talk about many businesses.
sure.
We had one business that's a salon ran by my aunt, who I helped do hair, gets products for her,
Right.
and eventually we helped that business grow. And but with that business, she helped the community bring more jobs in, and just that experience helped alter my vision in helping business owners. So, but definitely with SCORE, I think is one of my ultimate part. I've heard about it. I've heard people say they heard about it.
Right.
But I've heard also, just like everyone else, I've heard about it many years ago. It sounds good. I was in sports again, and the SCORE part, basketball, the SCORE part sound like, oh, that's good, SCORE. And I've heard about it in the bypass,
Sure.
but when you really want to get serious and you're looking to make that decision, and I always say to get started right away, even if you're working already, to start. Once you're at your job, do your job at your job, and once you finish a job, then you come home and you work a little bit on your passion.
Right, exactly.
I've done that many years, and I was always encouraging others to do the same thing. And when that moment comes, if you get downsized or you have a business partner or a deal that comes through, you're ready.
Exactly.
You're ready, and not sit up to the side and wonder, should I start my business, or is this a good time to do it? Because when that moment comes, you definitely want to be ready. So that's what we're providing. That's what we're looking to provide. Things that happen to us that we can provide for others, that they won't have to say, well, should I or can I? They can actually get started and give us a call, and not just a one-stop shop. It's an ongoing relationship that we definitely want to build
Exactly.
in a culture. So we're excited. I'm excited, passionate about it. I can go on and on, but I'm turning the floor to you.
And you brought up a lot of good points. Is that you want to go ahead and get started before you even feel ready, because if you're too much in your head and you talk too much about it without implementation, this whole world is filled with a lot of ideas, but until you take action and implement, then you're never really going to go ahead and test whether your ideas are feasible or not. And one of the good things about SCORE is that you don't have to do it alone. You could go ahead and seek out a mentor to go ahead and help you in this entrepreneurial journey. And again, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, just go ahead and give us a call and we'll go ahead and help you through this journey. And, again, one of the things that I tell my clients when I'm helping them get some, funding for their businesses is the best time to go ahead and try to figure out what you're qualified for is when you don't need it.
Right.
The best time to go ahead and network is when you don't need it. Just like you said, the best time to go ahead and figure out whether your ideas work or not is before you actually flopped, before you stepped in that landmine and wasted a lot of time and money.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely hit the nail on the head. I'm definitely going to reiterate that back and forth of starting your business, even while you're if you're working at McDonald's or to working at a manufacturing company. Always feel, if you have that thought in the back of your head, this is not for me. I'm complaining about the job I'm at. pretty much, the goals or I would say the spirit that's there is meant to be somewhere else and to shine somewhere else. So definitely, seek out a mentor. Seek out a mentor and pretty much write it down. Because when the moment comes for that great client of yours come through, is there. And I share that story. I share this story with you because over 20 years ago, I've created through Excel. I created a spreadsheet that I've been doing for years. When I moved out of my mom's house at the age of, I think, of 19 or 20, I cried that I couldn't make it. And she said, "Oh, well, baby, you can make it. I'll show you how." And I'm like, "You don't have to come over and show me." But she came over and showed me. And she sat down and she did on a piece of paper a chart.
Okay.
Because she's a numbers person. She said, you don't look at it daily, weekly. You start there, but then you look at it monthly. And then you look at it yearly. And then you look at it 10 yearly. I said, well, that's a new way of looking at it. I said, I can do that. So I did it on a sheet of paper. And I survived at the age of 21 with my daughter, at the age of 21, into that field. So I carry that idea of spreadsheet all the way from age of 20 until I got my engineering degree and incorporate that into profitability and margins.
Right.
And I ran to a gentleman, like when I mentioned about your client, I ran to a gentleman. He said, well, what do you do? And this is why I was working, and I was actually doing spreadsheet too.
Okay.
He said, what are you doing? I said, well, it's nothing. I just, keep track of my numbers. Keep track of numbers? He said, yeah. He said, I'm a businessman. Can I see what you do?
Sure.
So I showed him. He said, well, I'll pay you for that. And I'm like, you'll pay me for this? He said, yeah. I said, okay. And I said, well, how much you pay for it? He said, $50. I'm like, $50? That was big to me. So you never know when the ideal client's going to come there. And they come to you probably regularly. And so they bypassing you back and forth. So that's why I always encourage, people to get started in their business, and it takes time to write out that business plan and do some research. But once you do, the light bulb to go off, you can go to work knowing that you have an outlet that you're working on, and that's what keeps me going, because I've been through there, and I know it's an outlet for others. They just want to know where the outlet is at, and here we are. So here we, hopefully that they can use the other avenues to choose, but you choose where your heart fits.
Right, exactly. So at that moment when you found somebody who's willing to pay for your product or idea, was that the trigger or the pivotal moment of, you saying, hey, you know what, somebody's willing to pay for this, so let me start my own business? Was that the time?
It never, at that time it didn't. It never went by me. And and I wouldn't say failures like that or things that pass you by, but you remember that once you get, in my case, maybe 15, 20 years down the line, you realize...
Hindsight is 20/20, right?
Hindsight is 20/20. You look at it and you look back and say, wow, how come I didn't capitalize it then? What was it? It's good books. You read good books. Connotative selling, one of my highlight books I read, and it talks about helping other business owners to capitalize on themselves. And I'm thinking, well, what about capitalizing on myself? And so we read books, but then see others succeed and not looking in terms of how we can succeed. And it comes to development as far as family, how family plays a part on pulling in that model that they see you as. But you have to break from that and read good books. Leaders are readers. And getting good people around you. So when he actually looked and said that I can spend that type of money on that, it was it didn't dawn on me until later on in life, and so that would push me to motivate me to run.
Right, exactly. And before we end, one of the things that I want to let the viewers know is that the most successful students and also entrepreneurs and small business owners that go to SCORE are the ones that combine both the mentoring with the workshops. So please go ahead and take advantage of that. So thank you so much, Othello, for being here with me.
Absolutely.
I always appreciate all the things that you do for SCORE.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm a pleasure here, and I'm excited to be part of the journey.
Of course, and to those of you that are watching right now, if you would like some free business mentoring, or if you would like to become a business mentor yourself with SCORE, we would love for you to connect with us. Again, our website is chicago.score.org. My name is Hannah Fernandez with Othello Van Calvert. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next time in SCORE TV.